My name is Benjamin Aaron Becker. I'm 28 years old, and I have arachnophobia, the fear of spiders and tarantulas. Even though I've never liked spiders, I wasn't necessarily afraid of them. I just harbored a strong dislike for them. I mean, even though I understand that they're supposedly put on Earth to keep the insect population in check and to eat the more annoying ones, I still wouldn't want one within arm's length of me. It's like, do your thing, just do it over there and very far away from me. But when I turned 16, that dislike blew up into a full-blown fear. Every year my family on my dad's side has a reunion, where literally everyone with the Becker name, either born with it or married into it, gets together in one of four places. My Uncle John and Aunt Rhonda's vacation cabin in Colorado, Aunt Julie's fall home in Delaware, the grandparents' condo in Hawaii, or Uncle Jack and Aunt Caitlin's summer house in North Dakota. Uncle John had the privilege of hosting the reunion this time, so my dad, sisters, and I packed up and flew to Boulder, Colorado from New Braunfels, Texas, to spend time with the family we don't get to see that often throughout the year. As far as sleeping arrangements, Uncle John and Aunt Rhonda decided that the adults would sleep in the vacation home. They had 4 guest rooms in addition to the master. They have 4 summer camp-style log cabins out back, with 4 bunk beds each, where the teens, young adults could sleep. And if anyone didn't want to rough it outside, Uncle John made reservations at a hotel down the street for them. I shared a cabin with our cousins, Rob, Jake, and Connor. The 4 of us are the pranksters of the family, so we spent hours reminiscing about the legendary pranks we've pulled on each other throughout the years, and we all fell asleep around 2:30 in the morning. 2 hours later, I woke up to a tickling sensation on my feet. I was on the top bunk and Connor was below me, so my first thoughts were that either he was trying to prank me again or the blanket was a bit too itchy. Connor, stop tickling my feet and go back to bed," I said. I became fully alert when he responded, "Dude, what are you talking about? I am in bed from below me." I sat up, grabbed my phone lying next to me, turned on the flashlight, and shined it down at my feet, only to find hundreds of baby wolf spiders crawling all over the foot of my bed. In all honesty, I'm very surprised I didn't break my ribs or any other part of my body when I fell out of the top bunk trying to get away from those spiders. I spent the remainder of the night awake sitting against an oak tree, refusing to step foot in that cabin. From what the relatives that got rid of the spiders told us the next day, there was a nest of wolf spiders in the upper corner of the cabin, sitting there for months, and apparently, that night they were ready to hatch. So they did. I'm still sticking to the theory that the spiders decided to hatch that night with the sole intent to give me a heart attack, because in my mind, that's what happened. And for those who want to know why I ran outside of the cabin and not to the bathroom, the short answer is because there wasn't a bathroom in the cabin. The long, more detailed answer would be that the cabin was like those I stayed in when I attended different summer camps as a kid. The camps had a main building with an office for the camp director, the dining hall, the bathrooms, and so on. Each cabin was very small, with only 2 bunk beds each. No electricity, no AC, no bathrooms, no running water, nothing. Because my Uncle John is very in tune with the outdoors, he decided it would be fun to build some small cabins on his property that are really nothing more than glorified tents made of wood. Ever since then, I have been terrified of spiders. I can't even look at a close-up of a spider in a book or on TV without having to shield my eyes or look away. It's that bad. It makes playing Skyrim a significant challenge, given how there are spiders the size of a fucking bus running around and hiding in caves, waiting to give me a stroke. I mean, I can handle daddy long legs and tiny spiders with no real issue, but anything bigger than a dime, and fuck that shit, torch it. My girlfriend Callie is not afraid of spiders in the slightest, so if she sees one at my house when she's visiting, she humanely gets rid of them when need be, while I do my best to get as far away from them as possible. But that's all right. She'll shit her pants at the mere sight of a snake while they don't bother me, so I take care of the non-poisonous snakes that break into her house, which happens more often than one would think. I've had a couple other less than pleasant experiences involving spiders since then, but I have to say one of the worst and weirdest experiences took place during a birthday vacation to Mexico with my cousins in 2016. My father is a freelance graphic designer. He does design work for major film production companies, like creating the posters for their movies, and as such, he has a great salary. He decided that it would be nice to send me on a week-long vacation to a place of my choosing with 5 people of my choosing as a late birthday present back when I turned 25. After a few days of thinking about it, I settled on a week in Cancun, Mexico. My dad found a great vacation resort for a great price. All that was left was inviting the 5 other guests. I figured it would be a great idea to invite all my male cousins on my dad's side of the family for some serious bonding. We all haven't been together since I was 16. I thought that was unacceptable, and we needed to change that pronto. My dad agreed, and after talking to the others, it was decided that they would meet me at my house. We would stay the night there, and then head to the airport the next day together to start our week-long vacation. The day came when my cousins were due to fly into Texas. I was so excited I couldn't stand it. I devised a prank for the first person who would show up, regardless of who it was. In my mind, balloons filled with chocolate pudding were hilarious, so that's what I did. I grabbed a laundry basket from the basement and filled it with 30 balloons. I just tied off the last one when the doorbell rang. I chuckled to myself as I loaded up with 3 balloons. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole to see who my victim would be. My cousin Rob. Perfect. I opened the door and smashed a balloon in his face before he had the chance to react. He wiped the pudding off and grinned. "Well, that's a great way to be greeted after a couple years," he said. "I'm sorry," I responded. "I had to." "No, you're not, and no, you didn't." "Okay, you're right. I'm not sorry, but I absolutely did have to do it." Rob laughed. "Well, you will be sorry. Get over here." He charged me and tackled me in a bear hug. We rolled around on the floor, wrestling and roughhousing a bit, not realizing the door was left open for anyone to just waltz in, which is what Jake did. He set his bags down as he came in. "Should I come back later?" he asked. "It looks like you two are in the middle of something." Rob and I stopped wrestling. "No, of course not," I said. "You're right on time." I got off of Rob and helped him up. Rob was just trying to give me some payback. "Because Ben smashed a pudding balloon in my face," he said. "I don't need to hear the sordid details," Jake said with a chuckle. He held his arms open to me. "I just need you to hug me, dude." I grinned. "I think I can manage that." I walked over to Jake and he lifted me a couple inches off the ground in a hug. "Wow, you've gotten stronger," I joked as he put me down. He grinned as he flexed his biceps a bit. "That's what consistent lifting will do." Connor walked in shortly after. "Consistent lifting? What, you mean consistently lifting the tacos to your mouth?" Jake turned around. "For your information, douche, I mean 50-pound dumbbells. I'm getting a good workout at my gym at home." "It's not like we can tell," Rob said. "You take that back," Jake said to him. "I will not. Then I'll have to beat the apology out of you." Rob laughed. "Good luck. I was in the Marines. I can wipe the floor with you like a mop." "I bet that was your job in the barracks," I said. "You want a shot in the chops too?" Rob threatened. "No, I think I'll pass." "Settle down, children," Connor said. "We have a whole week to work out our aggression." "I see you haven't changed a bit," Rob said to him. Connor grinned. "You act like you haven't seen me for years." My dad's family is pretty big. He has 2 brothers and 3 sisters, my aunts and uncles. Rob, Jake, and Connor are all siblings from my Uncle Dave. Kevin is the son of my Aunt Rhonda, while Jeremy is my Uncle John's kid. The entire extended family tries to get together every so often, but once a year at the annual family reunion is as good as it gets. Even then, though, not all of us are able to make it. "Sometimes I forget," Rob said. "The stress of being an expecting parent takes its toll sometimes." Rob and his fiancée Whitney were expecting their first child together, a boy. And yes, they were engaged before she got pregnant. Jeremy appeared in the doorway and rapped his knuckles gently on the door a couple times. "Knock, knock," he said. I grinned. "Great to see you, man." "You too, dude." He set his bags down, walked over to me, and gave me a hug so forceful I had to take a couple steps back to keep our balance. "It's been a while." "You're telling me," I said. "How's Los Angeles been treating you?" "Hopefully not better than your time on the Banshee Busters." Jeremy laughed. "There's nothing that will replace the memories I have with you on the Banshee Busters." When I was 21, my best friend Brady and I were approached by a woman who said she was an executive producer for the Sci-Fi Network. She said she was looking to pitch a show that would take the place of Ghost Hunters while they were on hiatus, and she overheard us talking about our experiences and shared interest in the paranormal. She introduced herself as Veronica and asked if we would be interested in shooting a test pilot for a new series. She explained that the equipment and travel costs would be covered by the network, and if it tested high enough, we would be able to turn it into a series. I figured it was worth a shot. If it didn't work out, At least we would have the one experience to tell our kids about someday. Brady agreed, and we got a team together to investigate the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. We were known as the Fearless Five. Brady and I are lead investigators. Our high school friend Angela is our researcher. Brady's now ex-girlfriend Carmen was our case manager, and Jeremy was our technology manager. The pilot tested very well, and we went on to film 2 seasons before Jeremy announced he was leaving the show to pursue his dream of being a sports broadcaster out in LA, while Brady discovered Carmen was cheating on him. Needless to say, her whore ass was fired. Kevin was the last one to arrive. "Now the party don't start till I walk in," he announced with the tip of his trucker cap. The rest of us laughed. "Great to see you, man," I said. "Yeah, you too, bro. Thanks for inviting me on this shindig. I can't wait to get to Mexico and party my ass off." "Of course," I responded. I thought it was unacceptable that all of us have been apart for as long as we have been. "Ah, dude, it absolutely is," Jeremy said. "In fact, I just had a thought." He glanced at me. "Do you have any liquor?" I smirked. "Yeah, in the pantry. There's Patron if you're thinking shots." "Great." Jeremy disappeared into the kitchen and came back out 5 minutes later with 6 shot glasses filled with tequila, a small bowl of chopped limes, and a salt shaker on a platter. He handed out the shots, took a lime, and held up his glass. "I would like to propose a toast." The rest of us followed suit with our shots. "Dudes, it's great to see all of you in the same room," Jeremy said. "Like Ben said, the fact that this is the first time we've all been together like this in years is not good. I say we can't let that happen again." He held his shot glass straight out. "I propose a pact. Right here, right now. We need to make it a point to meet up like this again at least once a year outside of the family reunions. Take a week off of work, off of responsibilities, off of everyday life, and go on a trip together. Regardless of where life takes us, I don't want to lose contact with you bros. We're literally family." "I'll drink to that," Jake said. "Same here," I said in agreement. "Hear, hear," Rob exclaimed. The 6 of us clinked our shot glasses together and downed them. Connor glanced at his watch. "Hey, it's only 7:30, he said. "What time does our flight leave tomorrow?" "We have to get to the airport by 5 a.m., I said. "Seriously?" "I know, I don't care for it either. But my dad figured that the sooner we get to Mexico, the sooner we could party." "That's Uncle Nick for you," Rob said, always thinking ahead. "What time would we get to Mexico?" Jake asked. "If our flight leaves at 6:45, with one layover in Miami for some stupid reason, we should land in Cancun around 1 p.m., I told him. "Ugh, layovers. Tell me about it." "Well, if we're going to be getting up at the ass crack of dawn, I want to get to bed now," Jeremy said. "We're going to have to be up at 4 o'clock at the absolute latest to get to the airport by 5, I pointed out. "That's before the ass crack of dawn." Fucking hell. It was agreed upon that we would turn in early, so there was no chance of missing our flight. Besides, we had an entire week in Mexico to look forward to where we could all be together. The next morning, all of us were up, though not particularly awake. We were ready to head to the airport and board our flight to Cancun. It was a nightmare getting through security and dealing with the layover in Miami. But we landed in Mexico on time. The 6 of us gathered our luggage from the carousel and looked around for our ride to the resort. A man dressed up as a chauffeur held a sign that read B. Becker near the exit. He lowered his sunglasses a bit as we walked up. "Ben Becker?" I nodded. "Yes, that would be me." "Very good. I'm Santiago Ramon. I have been tasked with taking you to your resort. The car is outside." "Great." The guys and I walked out with Santiago to a sleek black Cadillac Escalade. We put our suitcases in the trunk and climbed in. Fortunately, the car had room for all of us, so we didn't need to take 2 cars to the resort. That would have been more trouble than it was worth. I decided to take the opportunity to call my dad and let him know that we landed in Mexico safely. I dialed his number and put the phone to my ear. He picked up after a couple rings. "Hey son," he said. "What's going on?" "Hi Dad, just letting you know that the guys and I made it to Cancun," I told him. "We're in the car headed to the resort now." "You are? Great. Were you picked up by a chauffeur?" "Yeah. What's the driver's name?" "Santiago something or other." "Ramon?" "Yes, that sounds familiar." "Phew, that's a relief," Dad said. "It is?" "Yeah, I got you guys a driver to take you to and from the resort. When I booked the trip, the reservation said the name was Santiago Ramon. At least now I know you're with the right guy, and not in some random car off to an abandoned ice factory where someone is intent on harvesting your organs." "Harvesting my organs? Why would anyone want to do that?" I asked. Rob gave me a sideways glance. Because you're a 25-year-old man, my dad said. Young people organs tend to fetch a higher price on the black market. Really? Oh yeah. If someone were to harvest your heart, your liver, and both your kidneys, they would easily clear $800,000. Or if they wanted to hit the big leagues and harvest everything in your body, they could walk away with exactly $845,712. I sat in stunned silence for a few seconds. Of course, the price for your skin would vary depending on how big you are, my dad said. The typical rate is a couple bucks a square inch. That is horrifying. What is? The fact that the human body is worth so much money? The fact that my father knows how much human organs would sell for on the black market. Hey, it's not like I have personal experience with that kind of thing. Really? Because I hear different. Your Uncle Dave thinks up the most elaborate stories, Dad said. We never came across a dead body on a hike in the Appalachians back in the 80s. And we especially didn't choose to harvest the organs from said body to put ourselves through college and graduate debt-free with a master's in graphic design. I thought you enlisted in the Marines. I did. I went to school after I got out of the service. Wouldn't they have paid your way through school with that GI Bill? I asked. Yes. Hence why I said your Uncle Dave and I didn't harvest the organs we found on a dead body in the Appalachians back in the 80s. That sounds way too specific to be a lie, though. Oh, look at that, my dad interrupted. Your Aunt Barbara is calling. I don't have an Aunt Barbara. Whoops, I meant your Aunt Rhonda. I have to take this. Bye. I hung up the phone in a state of confusion. What was that all about? Jake asked. Just talking to my dad a bit, I told him. He's acting weird. Or weirder than usual, at least. Did he tell you the story about the time he and my dad harvested the organs they found on a dead body in the Appalachians back in the 80s? Rob wanted to know. I furrowed my brow. That really happened? Yeah, it's the stuff legends are made of in the family. I have literally never heard that story. Probably because Uncle Nick isn't up front with his crazy past like our dad is, Connor pointed out. I guess that would explain it. But now I can't decide if that's crazy cool or just crazy. I like to think it lands somewhere in the middle, Jake said. Like it's a great story to tell at a party full of drunk people or around a campfire, but maybe not so appropriate to tell at a wedding. Or a funeral, Jeremy spoke up. I actually think it's worse to tell it at a funeral, I said. People would sneak back to the burial plot to try and dig up the dead person in order to get rich literally overnight. We pulled up to the resort a little while later. Jeremy and I headed inside to check in while the others got the luggage out of the trunk. The woman behind the front desk looked up and smiled at us as we walked in. Hi there, welcome to Cancun, she said. Do you have a reservation? We do, I said. It should be under Becker. The woman inputted some information into her computer. Nicholas? She asked. That would be correct. Perfect. 3 suites? Sounds about right. Great. The woman ducked down behind the desk and came back up with 3 key cards. Here you are, she said. Enjoy your stay. Thank you, I said. The others walked in with our bags. Here you are, Ben, Rob said as he handed me my suitcase. Thanks, bro, I said. Of course. Did you get us checked in? We did, Jeremy said. The only thing left is to divide up the suites. How many are there? Connor asked. 3, so we have to split up, 2 to a room. Jeremy quickly grabbed my shoulders. I think it makes sense that Ben and I share one. After all, we did check in together. I laughed. Don't I get a say in this? Of course you do, Jeremy said. I just figured you felt the same way. I don't have a preference who I share the suite with. It's just nice to have all of us back together again. The feeling is mutual, dude, Connor said. I call my own suite, Rob said. This is my last hurrah before I become a dad, and this might be the last chance I have for any real alone time for 18 years. I think I deserve this. Kevin chuckled. Fine, I guess I can survive rooming with Connor and Jake. That just gives us more time to plan out some epic pranks. Oh boy, Jeremy said. Just be sure to nail Rob with your best ones. You probably won't get that chance again once his kid is born. That wouldn't be in your best interest, Rob warned. Just because I'm going to be a father soon doesn't mean I'll be unable to retaliate. Then we'll have to come up with the best of the worst for you, Connor said. If you're going to get us back anyway, might as well make it worth our while. I laughed. Have fun with that. I'm gonna go check out our suite. Sounds good, bro, Jeremy said. I'll come with you. The suite had a good-sized layout. The bedroom had 2 queen-sized beds with 1,000 thread count sheets, a mounted TV, and an armoire tall enough to hang a suit on a hanger in. The bathroom had a walk-in shower, a granite sink, and plenty of toiletries. There was also a living area with a love seat, an armchair, a computer desk, and a 70-inch flat-screen HD TV. "Wow, your dad hooked us up," Jeremy exclaimed. "Tell me about it," I said. "We have to live it up while we can. You only turned 25 once." "I know. Good thing I don't have to worry about that for another 5 years or so." "Dude, you're 2 years older than me." "Not according to Tinder." "How old are you on Tinder?" Jeremy looked down at the floor. 20. "And you expect women to believe that?" "Oh, come on. Women lie about their age all the time." "Sure, but that doesn't mean you have to." "I'll give you that, but I'm not going to stop." Jeremy glanced at his reflection in the mirror. "But what, are you saying I can't pass for a 20-year-old? "I probably could, since I have what's known as a baby face," I said as I rubbed my chin a bit. "If I shave, I bet I could even pass for 17. "Lucky you," Jeremy said. "What makes you think I don't look like a young adult?" "You have a full beard," I responded. "Call me crazy, but I don't think most 20-year-old guys have full beards." "You're crazy, and if I remember correctly, you had a full beard when you were 20, so I don't think you're in any position to talk." "All right, douche." Jeremy whipped his head around. "Did you just call me a douche?" I feigned innocence. "No, I said touche. It sounded like you said douche. You didn't hear the A part at the end." "I'll let you believe that, ass." I furrowed my brow. "You just called me an ass." "You didn't let me finish," Jeremy reasoned. "All right then." I crossed my arms. "Finish." "I was going to say, I'll let you believe that, assuming you heard me correctly." "I did, and you called me a donkey." "Technically, I called you an ass." I pointed at him. "So you admit it," Jeremy laughed. "I see you have jokes. That's one of the things I miss the most about you." Once all of us were settled in to our suites, the 5 of us met up in the resort's bar to kick off our week in Mexico in style. Rob suggested a game of Never Have I Ever, which we all thought was fun. We took turns buying rounds except for me, since, it was my birthday we were celebrating, and the birthday boy never buys his own drinks. Jeremy came back to our booth with 5 bottles of various beers and distributed them. Jake started the game with the first question. "Never have I ever been on TV in any capacity," he said. Jeremy, Rob, and I all took a drink. Kevin glanced at Rob. "Really? What were you in?" he asked. "I had a small part in a commercial for the Marines a couple years back. It really wasn't that hard. I just had to do my job while a camera crew filmed me and my comrades." "Comrades? You weren't in Soviet Russia," Jeremy pointed out. "I would hope," I added. "What? No," Rob said. "My brothers in arms and I call each other comrades because it's an inside joke." "That's kind of a weird inside joke," I said. "It's not like you and your friends don't have weird inside jokes of your own, like calling your house the bromance bungalow." I pointed a finger gun at him. "You got me there." "My turn," Jeremy said. He thought for a second. "Never have I ever had anyone else's body parts in my mouth." Rob and I took another drink. Jake furrowed his brow at me. I might be able to understand Rob's reasoning, seeing as he did dirty things with Whitney. "At least one of those dirty things resulted in her getting pregnant," Connor joked. "Yup," Rob said. "One of her biggest turn-ons is having her toes sucked." "But what's your story?" Jake asked me. I grinned. "It's a hell of a tale. Let's just say it involved my best friend, my 21st birthday, and a drunken dare by a pushy woman." "If I correctly guess what happened, will I win something?" Connor wanted to know. "Sure," I said. "You'll win another beer that someone else buys for you." "That works for me." Connor rested his head on his fists. "Did your friend Angela dare you to suck Brady's toes when you all were drunk at your birthday party?" "Nope." I took a drink. "My friend Angela dared me to suck Brady's thumb when we all were drunk at my birthday party." "His thumb? That's really odd," Jeremy said. "You know us well enough to know that none of us are normal." "But why would she dare you to suck his thumb?" "Honestly, who knows? Angela's fucking weird, but I love her like a third sister." "At least she didn't dare you to suck Brady's sausage," Rob pointed out. "That was actually her first suggestion, but we both shot that down quick," I said. "Whose turn is it now?" "I can go," Rob said. "Never have I ever performed in front of an audience, like singing, acting, stand-up comedy, anything." I was the only one to take a drink. I looked around to see no one else did. "Really? I'm the only one?" "What did you perform?" Kevin asked. "I've done karaoke a handful of times," I said. "Nothing huge." "That sounds fun, but now I guess I can take a turn." Kevin turned his hat backwards on his head. "Never have I ever had a one-night stand." Rob and Connor both took a drink. You slept with someone before Whitney? I asked Rob. I did have a sex life before Whitney. Do you still? It's kind of on hold for now, with the upcoming arrival. You two can still have sex even when she's pregnant, Jake said. Yes, I'm well aware, but it's much more satisfying when she can bend her body unnaturally. She can't exactly do that with a huge stomach. How is that going to work once the kid is born, though? Rob furrowed his brow. What do you mean? When the kid is born and Whitney has had enough time to recover, we'll be able to get back to the contortion work. That's not what I meant, Jake responded. Then what did you mean? How are you two going to be able to have sex with a newborn in the house? Easy. Mom and Dad would be more than willing to watch their grandchild on occasion. Same with her parents. Plus, we're going to Italy for our honeymoon after we get married. That trip will be filled with sightseeing and shoving my gondola in her canal. You mean canals, Connor said. I do mean canals. The rest of the night was filled with more drinking, laughter, and catching up. Jeremy and I didn't make it back up to our suite until close to 3 a.m. When I say I passed out hard, I mean I passed out hard. I woke up around noon, and Jeremy was still out cold in his bed. I decided to watch a bit of TV to wake up a little, and then figure out my day from that point. Someone knocked on the door a bit, which woke Jeremy from his slumber. Fuck, can someone turn down the world? He groaned. I'm too hungover to deal with anything else right now. I got up and opened the door to Jake standing outside our room. He was wearing his black and orange tropical print swim trunks and had a dark blue towel wrapped around his shoulders. Hey dude, he said to me. How do you feel about hitting up the resort's water park this afternoon? I grinned. Isn't there a saying about avoiding the water in Mexico? The saying is don't drink the water in Mexico. No one said anything about not going to a resort's water park. You have a point there. That sounds great. I stepped aside. Come in while I hop into my trunks. Jake walked in and took a seat on the couch while I got changed in the bathroom. I tossed my clothes on my bed, grabbed my lime green towel, and walked back out to the living area. You ready to go? Jake asked. Sure am, I said. I just have to tell Jeremy where we're going. I walked back to the bedroom. Bro, just wanted to let you know that Jake and I are hitting the water park, I said to Jeremy. We'll be back sometime later this afternoon. Sounds good, dude, Jeremy said. Do me a favor and remind me in a note. I'll probably forget by the time I actually wake up. I laughed. No worries. I grabbed a sticky pad from the computer desk, wrote Jeremy a reminder that I was hitting the water park with Jake, and stuck it on the TV where I knew he wouldn't be able to miss it. Jake and I found a couple chairs to drape our towels over. We agreed that we would hit up the body slides first, then move on to the tube slides, hop on the lazy river, chill in the wave pool, and then do it all over again. After a couple hours, Connor found us and said he had a surprise for us. He wanted all of us to meet him at the same bar that night around 10 o'clock p.m., which would give us plenty of time to freshen up and rest. Around 9:45, I made my way down to the bar with Jeremy. We grabbed a table with Jake, Kevin, and Rob, but Connor was nowhere to be found. So what's this surprise that Connor has for us? Kevin asked. I don't know, but knowing him, it probably has something to do with women, Jake said. Yeah, that's the most likely case, I said. 10 minutes later, Connor strolled into the bar with 5 women. Called that one, I said, as I held my fist out to Jake. He laughed as he gave me a fist bump. I know my brother well. Guys, I would like for you to meet the ladies, Connor said, gesturing to the women next to him. They're a group of friends on vacation who want to get to know us better. All of us? Jeremy asked. Yeah, there's one for each of us, except Rob. What? Why not me? Rob wanted to know. Because you have a fiancé at home, Connor said. Oh, right. Connor turned to the women. Ladies, take your pick. I have to admit they were all gorgeous. A black girl with straightened shoulder-length jet black hair wearing a strapless sky blue mini dress with sequins and 6-inch silver stilettos walked over to me and wrapped her arms around my neck from behind. I picked this one, she said. I love me some native blood. Ooh, so spicy. I have Native American ancestry in my bloodline. My great-grandparents on my dad's side were full-blooded Cherokee and even walked the Trail of Tears back in the 1800s. I grinned. I'm good with that. She sat down in an empty booth and gestured for me to sit with her, which I did. A waiter came by and we ordered some drinks. The girl held her hand out to me. My name is Darla, she said. I shook her hand. Very nice to meet you, Darla. I'm Ben. Oh, I know who you are, honey. I watch the Banshee Busters like it's my job. Really? Do you have a favorite moment from the 2 seasons we filmed already? I do, actually. Angela is hilarious. I especially enjoyed the moment when you guys were investigating that library in Arkansas with the cookbook. Darla laughed as she recalled it. When that book flew off the shelf and hit Angela in the chest. Then Jeremy said something about the ghost trying to tell her something. Heh. Yeah, Angela doesn't take kindly to being disrespected, as proven when she walked over and slapped Jeremy with the book. The waiter came back with our drinks. I got a strawberry daiquiri. 1, because I love strawberries, and 2, because I can. And Darla ordered a tequila sunrise. We spent a bit more time chatting and getting to know one another with some light flirting here and there. I learned Darla was a graduate student at Yale, majoring in medicine. I'm a sucker for a smart woman. That night I also learned that it's a bad idea to leave your drink unattended around strangers. I went to the bathroom and was stupid enough to trust that Darla wouldn't do anything to it. I came back and took a couple sips. I realized a bit too late that she drugged it. I blacked out, and the next thing I remember is waking up shirtless in a bathtub filled with ice. Darla was kneeling next to the tub with a huge cooler, a switchblade, and a hacksaw. She exchanged her mini dress and heels for a navy blue sweater, black sweatpants, and dark brown work boots. Her black hair was tied up in a bun on top of her head, instead of being worn down to her shoulders. It looked like I was in a bathroom in some run-down shack. The linoleum flooring was stained and peeling, the plaster on the walls was chipped, there were cracks everywhere, and a black spider the size of a $50 crawling on the opposite wall. It took everything in me not to shriek like a little girl. I tried to avoid looking at the spider, and looked down at my body to see that Darla marked different parts of me with what looked like black permanent marker. If I didn't know any better, I would think she was trying to pull an 80s-era Dad and Uncle Dave and harvest my organs. Well, this night took a fun turn, I thought sarcastically. Darla looked over at me and grinned evilly as she polished a switchblade. Well, good to see you awake, sweetie, she said. I looked up at her, half awake. Huh? What's going on? What's going on is I'm about to be $800,000 richer. What are you talking about? Darla sauntered over to me, crouched down and traced the markings on my body with her newly polished switchblade. See these markings? I nodded slowly. Those are the organs I'm going to carve out of your body. That's a bit mean, isn't it? Maybe, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Darla stood back up. See, my girlfriends and I are all Ivy League students. I stared at her. Yeah? What does that have to do with anything? Tuition at Ivy League schools is expensive. It costs $62,000 to cover my classes, room and board, and books for a year. So why don't you ask your parents for help, or get financial aid? Neither of those are options, Darla said. My parents disowned me when they found out I slept with a girl, and I was rejected for financial aid. You slept with a girl? I asked. Darla nodded once. And you were hitting on me? It was a drunken one-night stand. Darla huffed. Not that it mattered to my parents at all. I don't even know how they found out. I could feel myself coming out of the drug-induced haze. Did you spike my drink or something? I feel really off. I sure did. With what? Roofies. Why? I already told you, Darla said with a hint of irritation. I'm going to take your organs, sell them, and cover my costs at Yale. You said it costs $62,000 for a year. Because it does. How many more years of school do you have left? Even though I was playing it really cool on the outside, I was so terrified on the inside that I was practically shitting bricks. But I didn't want to give Darla any more power over me. My mindset was to keep her talking for as long as I could until I figured out a way to escape. She seemed like she was full of herself and loved to hear the sound of her own voice, and I figured I would use that to my advantage in order to save my life. I just wrapped up freshman year, so I have 3 more to go, Darla said. I did some quick math in my head, so that adds up to $168,000. Darla looked impressed. Well, color me impressed, sweetie. Did you major in math? No. I have a degree in graphic design, I responded. But if you only need $168,000 to cover the rest of the schooling, what are you going to do with the $600,000 left over? And more importantly, why are you telling me all this? Darla shrugged. I don't know. Maybe I'll travel the world, go to Vegas and try to win even more, start a new life somewhere. The possibilities are endless. She looked down at me. I'm telling you all this because I figure the least I could do is explain my plan to you before I go through with it. How thoughtful of you in hindsight. Thank you. Ugh, dumb broad. Are you sure you'll be able to do any of that though? I asked. What? Of course I'm sure. Why wouldn't I? I tried to slowly stand up out of the ice bath. Because maybe karma will bite you in your plastic ass one of these days. Darla gasped. My ass is real, thank you very much. I laughed bitterly. I'll let you believe that, even though it looks like you got concrete injections back there. You really want to go there? Sure, it's not like I have anything better to do. I am very well aware that I'm a sarcastic asshole, even when I'm facing certain life or death situations. I'm working on that though. Not facing as many life or death situations, I mean. The sarcasm isn't going anywhere. Darla narrowed her eyes as she flicked her switchblade open. Fine, I was going to be nice and wait for you to pass out to carve you open like a pig, but the time for pleasantries has passed. She rushed forward and stabbed me in the abdomen with the blade, which fully snapped me out of the drug-induced haze. I let out a primal scream of pain and instinctively punched her closed fist in the face. She fell backwards onto the floor, and in my blind rage I grabbed the lid from the toilet tank. Before Darla had the chance to react, I bashed her head in a couple times. When I was done, her admittedly gorgeous face was mangled beyond recognition. I tossed the lid to the side and took a couple deep breaths to calm myself. Bitch bye, I said. I looked through the toolbox Darla left behind and was lucky enough to find some surgical gauze. I applied some of it to my abdomen wound to stop the bleeding, put my tank top back on and was extremely relieved, but not surprised, that Darla wasn't smart enough to take my phone. I walked out of the bathroom and found myself in what looked like a rundown hallway. I couldn't see a thing, so I used a flashlight on my phone to get a better view of things. The carpet was rotting and torn to hell. The pastel blue wallpaper chipped off and left the walls bare, save for a few more spiders crawling around. Ick, I thought to myself. I hope those cretins are the only ones here. There was one door a few more feet down to my left, but nothing else. I needed to get an idea of where the hell I was, and I thought exploring the house would get me there. I tried opening the door, but it was locked. Forget this, I thought. I'm breaking it down. Even though I was wearing flip-flops at the time, the door was rotted enough that I could easily break through it with my foot and avoid splinters. I cautiously stepped into the room and shined my light around it. It was empty, save for a couple pieces of trash scattered about. I checked my phone and saw that I had halfway decent cell service. I tried to call Jeremy first. After 2 rings, I could hear his phone ringing somewhere in the house. He didn't pick up the first time, so I called him again and followed the sound. I continued to call him until I was able to locate him. He was in a similar predicament as I was, shirtless and passed out in a bathtub filled with ice. A blonde woman was kneeling next to him with the same tools Darla had when she tried to take my organs. It seems like these women were all deranged. I weighed my options and figured sneaking the bitch before she had a chance to do anything else was the best course of action. I crouched down and moved slowly so I wouldn't draw attention to myself. She didn't notice I was in the room until I grabbed her in a chokehold. She let out a surprised yelp and tried to weasel her way out by hitting and scratching me, but I held on and didn't let go until she went limp. I dropped her body on the floor and tried to wake up Jeremy. He wouldn't budge. I tried slapping him a couple times and shaking him. I thought about splashing cold water in his face, but seeing as he was in a bathtub full of ice, I didn't think that would have any effect. I figured he was safe enough for the time being and set out to try and find the others. The rest of the house was in severe disrepair. There were holes in the ceiling, patches of plaster, and wallpaper were missing. The banister on the stairs was splintered and broken. The furniture was dusty and shredded, and there were obvious signs of wood rot on all the doors and on the walls. It was like no one lived in the house for decades. I couldn't help but notice that there were even more spiders crawling around, which gave me the absolute creeps. It was like we stumbled upon a nest of them or something. But why the hell did Darla and her crew of skanks take us here? Have they harvested organs from other people before? Was this a sick game they were playing with unsuspecting male tourists? Before I could figure it out, some footsteps and Jake's voice jarred me out of my thoughts. "Hello?" he called out. "Is anyone in here?" "Jake? Jake," I shouted. "Where are you?" "Ben, is that you?" "Dude, I'm in the main room downstairs." The footsteps got faster and louder until Jake ran into view. He practically catapulted himself into my arms. "Oh my god, dude, I'm so glad you're okay. I was so worried about you." "Yeah, I'm good. I'm very relieved you are too." We let go of each other. Did you find anyone else? Jake asked me. Jeremy is in a room a few feet down the hall, I told him. He's passed out, but I think he's alive. What about the others? I don't know where they are. I pulled my phone out. You still have your phone on you, right? Jake picked up his phone. Yeah, right here. Great. Keep in touch with me and update me through text. Try and find Kevin and Connor. I'll get Jeremy up and moving. What about Rob? I'll call him after I get Jeremy taken care of. If the girls kidnapped all of us, I doubt Rob is here, since he didn't have one. Good thinking. Also, have you noticed the spiders everywhere? I asked. I did, Jake said. Don't you think that's a bit weird? Why would it be weird? I'd imagine spiders are more common in warmer climates like Mexico. Sure, but something about them feels a bit off to me. Could be your arachnophobia flaring up. I laughed. You say that like it's a disease. Heh, it's all good, bro. Just don't pay attention to them and they'll leave you alone. Besides, they're more scared of you than you are of them. That's what everyone says, but I have a hard time believing that. We can discuss it later, Jake said. Go find everyone else. Right. Jake and I did a complicated bro shake and parted ways. He ran back upstairs while I went back to Jeremy, only to find the bitch somehow regained consciousness. She turned around with fire in her eyes and a hacksaw in her right hand. You, she snarled. Don't you dare take that tone with me, I fired back. You and your merry little band of skanks tried to kill me and my boys. We had a good reason. I cocked my head to the side a bit. There is no reason good enough to drug 5 random tourists and carve their organs out of their bodies. Just listen, sweetie. I promise it will all make sense. I sighed. Fine, I can play Mr. Nice Guy, but you have 2 minutes. It seems that my sarcastic asshole self comes out even more in life or death situations. The bitch, whose name was Monica, stepped closer to me. See? My girlfriends and I all go to Ivy League schools. I know, that's what Darla said. She did? Where is she? Burning in hell. I swear I can't help myself. You killed her? Monica asked, clearly appalled. It's not like I wanted to. It was either I kill her or she kills me. Clearly I wasn't going to let her get the upper hand. Uh-huh. I don't care if you don't believe me, but I'm not a violent person, says the asshole who murdered my girl. In self-defense, potato potato, you still killed her. I'm not going to waste my breath arguing with you, I said. Fine by me, Monica said. She sauntered over to me with a hacksaw in hand, but I feel like I have to cut you up a bit to avenge Darla. I looked past Monica and noticed that Jeremy was slowly coming to. I need to distract her a bit longer, I thought. Before you do, you said you were going to explain why you were doing this to us, I said. And I want to hear what reason you think is good enough to drug 5 random men and try to harvest their organs. I suppose I can do that, Monica said. She pressed the hacksaw against my jaw, drawing a little bit of blood. It's because my girlfriends and I need money to cover our schooling expenses. You wouldn't believe how expensive it is to attend Princeton. I winced a bit when she cut my jaw and had to stop myself from punching her in the face out of reflex. Again. So I hear, I said through gritted teeth. But that doesn't explain why you think you can resort to criminal activities and not try to get financial aid or ask your parents to help. My parents are dead, smartass. It's not like I would know that. And apparently I make too much money to qualify for financial aid. My scholarship doesn't cover everything, so this was the next best option. You're a disrespectful bitch, I said as I pushed her away. And if you touch me one more time, you're going to be reunited with Darla. Is that so? Monica leaned in so close I could feel and smell her stank breath on my cheek. Say something rude one more time, she whispered. By that time, Jeremy was fully awake and ready to pounce. I grinned. Gladly, because you asked for it. Have fun picking food out of Bin Laden's beard with your teeth. Monica lowered the saw. Why would I do that? Because that's going to be your job when you get to hell, you stupid bitch, Jeremy said as he charged her from behind. He tackled Monica to the floor. They rolled around for a couple seconds, each trying to get the upper hand, but Jeremy managed to wrestle the hacksaw out of her hands and slam it blades first into her throat, so hard it touched the floor. Monica spit up a bunch of blood and went still. Her head detached from her body and rolled a couple centimeters to the left. I helped Jeremy up, and he gave me a huge hug. His entire body was trembling, and I comforted him until he stopped. Dude, where's everyone else? He asked. Jake found me, I told him. He's off looking for Kevin and Connor. What about Rob? My eyes widened. Shit, I need to call him. I grabbed my phone and called Rob. He picked up after 3 rings, Ben, where the hell are you guys? He practically shouted. Rob, thank God you answered, I exclaimed. I have no idea where we are. All I know is that we're trapped in some abandoned shack. Those crazy women drugged us and dragged us here. Can you get outside? I can try. Give me a little bit. Stay on the phone with me. There's no way I'm hanging up. Jeremy and I walked around a bit, trying different doors to see where they lead. The first door led to another empty room. The second one had what looked like a chemistry station, and nothing else. And the third one had a bunch of empty aquarium tanks on tables. That's weird, Jeremy said, peering in at the tanks. What do you suppose those are for? Who knows, I responded. We need to find a way out of here. Then let's split up. I was about to tell him how horrible of an idea that was, but he added, I know that's a horrible idea, but we'll get there faster if we do. I sighed. I can't argue with that. I'll stay on the phone with Rob. You'd better, Rob said on the other end of the line. Jeremy and I split up to try and find a way out quicker. The next door I tried practically gave me a heart attack, a stroke, and a brain aneurysm at the same time. The room was wall to wall with the same aquarium tanks that were in the previous room, except these tanks were filled with various sizes of spiders, ranging from smaller ones, the size of a baby's hand, which isn't small, to huge ones, the size of a dinner plate. Upon closer inspection, God knows why I did that instead of just running the other way screaming. It looked like some of the bigger spiders were glowing. One had a bright green glow, a handful were bright blue, some were red, and another one was yellow. I stood frozen in place, unable to move. Ben, are you still there? Rob asked on the other end of the line. I could barely squeak out a response. Tell me what's going on. SS Spider. Spider? What? There's a room. What are you saying? There's a room full of spiders. Someone grabbed my shoulders from behind, which made me scream again. I whipped around, ready to knock the person out, but stopped short when I saw it was Jake. I found Connor and Kevin, he said. He peered past me into the room. Is that a room full of spiders? Yes. And are some of them blowing? Yes. Do you want to get out of here? More than anything. I felt something slowly crawl onto my foot. I tensed up and clamped my eyes shut. Jake, I muttered. Yeah. I inhaled deeply. Please tell me there isn't a spider on my foot. Jake shined his flashlight down. Okay, there isn't a spider on your foot. I breathed a sigh of relief, which was short-lived as soon as I looked down for myself. It looked like a dark brown bird-eating spider, and it was chilling on my foot like it paid rent. It would have been bad enough if I were wearing boots, but I was wearing flip-flops. My brain took a couple seconds to send the signal down to my feet, but once it did, I shrieked like a bat out of hell and flailed my foot until the spider flew off. In the ensuing panic, I must have accidentally hung up on Rob, which probably gave him a heart attack as well. I took off in a dead sprint with no idea where to go and ran face first into another door. I tried to open it and realized it was locked. Jeremy walked up behind me. What's this here? He asked. I don't know, I said, but wherever this leads, it's locked, and I want out of here. Let me check it out. I stepped aside and Jeremy inspected the doorknob. It looks like it locks from out here for some reason, he said. Really? Why would someone want to lock a door from the outside? Maybe there's something behind the door that the owner wants to keep hidden away. Someone owns this house? I thought it was abandoned. What would give you that idea? I looked around at the rotting floorboards, missing holes of plaster on the walls, and the occasional tarantula crawling around. Just a hunch, but those tarantulas better stay away from me if they know what's good for them. Bro, come on, Jeremy said. The spiders are more scared of you than you are of them. I chuckled. That's exactly what Jake said, but like I told him, I have a very hard time believing that. I started to turn the lock when Jeremy stopped me. Dude, are you sure you want to do that? He asked. I don't see why not. Maybe it's a way out. Sound logic. I slowly unlocked the door and opened it. Then I realized I shouldn't have. It turned out that the door led to a basement chamber with more experiments. One of them was a hairy tan tarantula, the size of a full-grown Shih Tzu. Another was a black widow as big and fat as a car tire. A large number of other spiders of various sizes were crawling around the room, and none of them were in tanks or cages. Jeremy grabbed my shoulders. Let's get out of here before those spiders notice us, he whispered. I nodded in agreement. Jeremy took out his phone, but first I need to take a picture. I shot him a death glare. Now is not the time, I whispered harshly. Oh, come on, dude. It won't take but a second. I can get the photo taken and shut the door before they realize we're here. I grunted as quietly as I could. Fine, but please make it quick. You got it, mister. Jeremy aimed his phone at the spiders and took the picture. Without realizing his flash was on, the black widow turned its head toward us, which caught the attention of the other spiders. They rushed at the door with what looked like lightning speed. Jeremy shoved me behind him, slammed the door shut, and locked it before anything had the chance to get out. The spiders pounded against the door for a few seconds before seemingly giving up. I glared at Jeremy. Was that really necessary? He did a palms up. I'm sorry, I forgot my flash was on. We almost died. No, we didn't. That huge black widow was seconds away from biting one of us, I said. It's the most poisonous spider in the world. One bite from that fat bitch would have killed us in a heartbeat. Jeremy gave me a skeptical look. How do you know any of that? I shrugged. I'm terrified of spiders, but that doesn't mean I don't know anything about them. Kind of like the more I know, the more reason I have to avoid them like the plague. I gestured to the now locked basement door. But more importantly, what the hell was all that? I asked. Seems someone is playing mad scientist, Jeremy said. Yeah, I kind of picked up on that when I saw that spider as big as a fucking dog, I said. Then why did you ask? Jeremy shot back. I hoped there would be a better answer. What answer could be better? Maybe that this is all a horrible nightmare and that I'll wake up in the bed in our suite if I pinch myself. Jeremy reached out and pinched me. Ow! I exclaimed, holding my chest. What the fuck, bro? Hate to break it to you, dude, but this isn't a horrible nightmare. Thank you, Dr. Phil, I said. Did you really have to go and pinch my nipple, though? What else could I have pinched? I don't know. Maybe my arm? That does seem like the more logical answer now that you say it out loud. Jeremy looked around a bit. Let's find the others and get out of here before we stumble across something worse. What could possibly be worse than a tarantula as big as a dog? A tarantula as big as a horse? My eyes widened. Why would you say that? You asked. It was rhetorical. Gee, now you tell me. Jeremy and I sprinted through the rest of the house trying to find a way out. He checked out each room first to save me from another potential heart attack, stroke, brain aneurysm. Jeremy opened the first door we came across and peeked in. Nope, he said. Looks like a bedroom. What's in there? I asked. A bed frame that's been rusted to hell. Anything else? No, that's it. Not even a mattress? Nope. Odd. He closed the door and we kept running. We came across another door. Jeremy looked inside. This appears to be another chemistry lab. There's a bunch of medical equipment spread out on 3 counters, a sink, an eye washing station, and a decontamination chamber. Are there any spiders? Not in here if you want to look for yourself. I looked over Jeremy's shoulder. It appeared as though all the equipment was brand new. The sinks were platinum, the countertops were stainless steel, the equipment looked state-of-the-art, and the decontamination chamber looked like it was ripped straight out of a science fiction movie set in the year 3000. Why is this room so brand new, yet the rest of the house is rotting from the inside out? I asked. Beats me, Jeremy said. Someone needs to get their priorities in order. Or maybe that someone doesn't intend on using this house for a long time, a voice said. Jeremy and I both jumped and whipped around to see Jake standing there with Kevin and Connor. Oh, thank God it's you guys, I said with my hand over my heart. What happened to you all? Jeremy asked. I assume the same thing that happened to you, Kevin responded. All I remember is drinking with a smoking hot babe at the bar, then everything was black, then I woke up in a bathtub full of ice, Connor said. She tried to cut my kidney out, but I took the carving knife she was using and gouged her eyes out. Graphic, Jeremy said. Did you kill her? I wanted to know. I had to put her out of her misery somehow, Connor said. So yes. Have you guys found a way out of here? Unfortunately, no, Jake said. We've been looking, but all we were able to find so far was a bunch of rooms that look like operating rooms and testing chambers. Did you find spiders? Spiders? Connor asked. He furrowed his brow a bit. No, we didn't find any spiders. We did, Jeremy told him. Don't go in the basement. Why? Have you seen the movie 8-Legged Freaks? I asked. I have, Jake said. The spiders in the basement make the spiders in that movie look like daddy long legs. Are you serious? I almost had a heart attack, a stroke, and a brain aneurysm, I said. Plus, I came dangerously close to shitting my pants. I think I'm fairly serious. I want to see them, Connor said. He started walking toward the basement, but I grabbed the back of his shirt and held him back. Yeah, that's not happening. Oh, come on, you ruin everything. Jeremy's dumbass took a picture on his phone, I told him, with the flash on. He almost killed us. You can see it when we get out of here. Bro, Jeremy said. I glanced at him. I'm sorry, you know I love you, dude, but you are kind of a dumbass sometimes. It's hard to argue with him there, Kevin said. Wow, you guys are such whores, Jeremy responded. It took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but we eventually found our way outside. Even if it involved making my own way through a wall. If the owner would have put more money towards renovations, instead of sinking everything into state-of-the-art lab equipment, maybe I wouldn't have been in that predicament. I kept running until I put a good distance between me and that hell house. I skidded to a stop and took a minute to check my surroundings. All I could see was a forest. I couldn't tell how deep in I was or which way the resort was. I thought the best course of action in the moment was to shine my light and scream at the top of my lungs, hoping that Rob, the police, or someone would hear me. I walked in a straight line for 5 minutes, waving my light back and forth and screaming "help me" when I saw a pair of bobbing lights through the brush. The rustling continued to get louder and louder until Rob burst through the clearing with 2 police officers in tow. I fell to my knees in relief that I was saved. Rob stayed back with me while the cops went to the rundown house to rescue the others. They all came back after a few more minutes, and we walked back to the resort together, which was a couple miles away. After the stress of that night, we decided to cut the trip short and take the next flight home. We spent the rest of the week hanging out around Texas and celebrating me turning 25 years old. When the week was over, the 6 of us reiterated the pact that we would get together again next year, except we would stay in the continental US this time. Our story made the news all over Mexico, which then made its way into the southernmost states, like Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Louisiana, and Mississippi. A lot of people have asked a bunch of the same questions, and I thought I would answer the most frequently asked ones here. For starters, the entire debacle actually did happen. Hand to God. But I don't blame those who doubt it. If I didn't live through the entire nightmare myself, I wouldn't believe it either. The cabin we were held hostage in wasn't actually abandoned. It was just in serious need of repair. The 5 women who tried to harvest our organs did not own the house. They stumbled upon it themselves and decided it would be the perfect backdrop to carry out their diabolical plan. Their pact was that they would find 5 gullible tourists, buy them drinks, drug them, take them to the house, and take care of their business. They wanted to target men because they were taking a stand against the patriarchy, or some bull. All 5 of the women are dead because we killed them. None of us were charged with murder because the authorities determined that we all acted in self-defense, which we of course did. The real owner of the house had no idea that a potential organ harvesting ring was taking place there. It also turned out that he was an aspiring mad scientist working on developing some kind of serum to give spiders and tarantulas weird powers ranging from fine to ice to nuclear to sunburst, which would explain why some of them had an odd glow. He was also working on a growth hormone, which would explain the huge black widow and giant hairy tan spider. Why anyone would want to infuse spiders with powers and make them even more horrifying than they already are, I will never know. Looking back on my experiences, I feel like I came out of it even more terrified of spiders, mostly tarantulas. I had no idea someone could concoct a serum to make spiders grow to the size of a small dog. I've also heard rumors that there's a spider that big naturally somewhere in Brazil, which is why I won't book a flight to Brazil anytime soon. I have had other unpleasant experiences with spiders since then, but none as bad as that. Unless you count the time a psycho chick strapped me into a glass coffin while she dumped hundreds of spiders and tarantulas on me. I hated it, but at least I survived. Plus, none of those spiders had radioactive powers, or were as big as dogs, or were black widows. As far as the pact my cousins and I made to still get together at least once a year, we have been staying true to it. We all live in different states. I'm obviously in Texas. Jeremy decided to settle down in California after obtaining his sports broadcasting degree. Jake lives in Colorado, Connor in Indiana, Kevin in Arkansas, and Rob in Oklahoma, but we've made it a point to meet up again. Sometimes we go to one of their homes. Last year, Jeremy hosted us at his place in Los Angeles, but other times we pick a new state to explore for a week. For the next excursion, we're planning on meeting up in Hawaii. It can be expensive, sure, but it's worth it to see all my cousins again. We're planning on tearing shit up every time we're all together. And as long as we don't run into any other issues like spiders or insane women who want to harvest our organs because they're too lazy to work a 9 to 5 or strip, I think we'll be all right.